Joe, are you excited about summer? Tell me with your voice or touch my hand. Are you looking forward to summer? Yeah. Are you just having a chillaxing day today? Just chilling? Yeah. Do you think it's important for people to just chill out sometimes? Not always be busy? Chill out? Yes. Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. We're having a chill day today. Just kind of hanging around and taking it easy. But I want to talk about some things that that you can do as far as transition planning goes that are kind of chill and informal pursuits. People get so nervous about transition planning. Parents think, you know, how can I think about that? I'm just trying to make a living and raise my kids and go to the doctor's appointments on time and keep track of things. And, you know, you talking about all this stuff is just stressing me out. I know. Some of us are born to plan and like to think ahead, and some people are more, you know, spontaneous. And transition planning is kind of a big topic. So it can be intimidating even if you are a planner. So I wanted to talk about some informal things that, that are kind of transition planning activities, but maybe don't feel like it. I have some suggestions on how to do those things. So I'll give you an example of some informal activities. So the other day, Joe was talking to somebody he knows who is someone that he went to elementary school with. And they were talking about going to a movie. And so the question was asked, Joe, do you remember this conversation? We asked if you wanted to go to the movies. Do you remember this conversation? Touch my hand or tell me with your voice if you remember the conversation. Do you remember? I see your smile. You remember? What we discovered in the conversation is that Joe wanted to see the movie, but he did not want to go to the movie theater to see it. He wanted to watch it on TV at home. Is that right? Is that what you let us know? Yes? Yes. So that's informal planning. So you know the what, which is see a movie. You know the who with this friend. And you know the how. We know that going to a movie theater doesn't appeal to Joe. Maybe we don't know all the reasons why that is, but we know that was his choice. And maybe it was that day. Maybe on a different day it would be a different choice, but that was the choice that day. So this is informal planning. Do you want to go to your friend's birthday party? Yes, no. If no, would you like to go shop for a present for your friend? And then we could bring the present to your friend at a different time. This is informal planning. What it's doing is helping your person understand choice making It gives them some autonomy, right? Choice making appeals to Joe Grillo. It gives them the sense of what they're going, how they can impact their lives as an adult. So transition planning doesn't have to be signing up for the waiver and, going to adult doctors. Yes, that is transition planning, but sometimes when you just want to have a chill day, it's a good idea to just practice. And I'm saying practice not in terms of like doing something over and over again. I'm talking about practice as a thing that you do on a regular basis at home. A practice like, making sure that you check with Joe about what his choices are. That's the kind of practice I'm talking about. So if you need a little guidance on doing some informal things, here are my suggestions. Use a calendar. So what I mean by that is you want to be intentional about doing it, because if you're not, you'll forget. And even though I'm saying this is informal, it can become habit if you do it this way. So use a calendar. So maybe you look at the newspaper or your favorite website and find activities that are going on. Like maybe we'll look up live music. Now that the weather's getting better and warmer, we can go see some shows outdoors, which Joe really enjoys. So we put that date on the calendar. Now we may decide not to go, but it's there. So I'm being intentional about this informal activity. Create some ground rules. This is very important. Like with the movie theater. Another way we could have handled it was decide on a date that Joe would go to the movies with this friend, and it would be a done deal. And then maybe Joe would go, and maybe he would have a good time, but maybe there's a reason he doesn't want to go to the movie theater anymore. Maybe he's uncomfortable in his chair because you're sitting for a long time. There could be issues with, if he needs to use the bathroom. It's not very easy in a public place. I mean, there's lots of reasons that maybe he made that choice, and maybe we can go through that in another episode and talk about some of those reasons why Joe made that choice. But what I'm saying is, if we didn't set some ground rules where Joe, number one, makes the choice about the activity. Number two, if Joe's not enjoying the activity, how can we give him the opportunity to opt out? Or how do we decide if we're going to encourage him to try something maybe outside of his comfort zone, because everybody should do that. Everybody should do that. So, ground rules, maybe just like a list of 5 things, just to keep in mind when you do an activity, particularly if, mama isn't there. He's 20. I don't have to be at everything he does. So have ground rules that the other person is aware of so that everybody has a better time, feels more confident, wants to do it again. We want to encourage people to do stuff with Joe. It's not an obvious thing. We kind of have to use the calendar, make the date, talk about the ground rules, encourage the person, because once you get to know Joe, you find out he's a pretty cool guy, but there's kind of a little bit of a process to get to know him. And then be brave and explore. Try some things. Maybe you've got some ideas that are way cooler than my want to go to a movie. So these are informal things. Maybe a family member takes your loved one out and does some fun things, or maybe a club at school. Maybe let the child try a new club, or child or individual. We have community dances have opened back up. Maybe that's something Joe would like to do. Just like I said, look at the calendar, see what's going on, just like you would do for yourself. Pick an activity, an informal activity that's not based with a program. It's just something in your community with someone you know. As I said, get involved. Schools, clubs, classes, social groups. Maybe Zooming is your thing. Maybe there's some social groups or live, online games that you would like to get involved in. I know a lot of people that do Wordle like competitively, that are like so into Wordle. So, there's things like that are not formal programs, state-funded approved programs, but it's a way to, number one, figure out what you like, find out what the person's interest is, particularly if they are nonverbal or functionally nonverbal. It's a way to test the water, see if they like it in the pool or not, which, by the way, pools are another thing. What I'm saying is short-term could become long-term. Let's say you find a social group that your person really likes, or a camp. So you find a camp that the person really enjoys, and maybe you pay for it out of pocket or get a scholarship for the first go-round. Well, you could apply for a long-term program, a more formal program, like a family support grant. In Georgia, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities offers family support grant funding, and that could help pay for a camp. So you would apply for that based on your informal knowledge that you've built on knowing that your person really loves this particular camp. And so by doing this, you're building their transition to adulthood, because, maybe you're going to retire in a year, and your ability to pay for things is going to change. You're going to be on a fixed income, and maybe those choices that you would have made when you had a little more disposable income, which not many of us have a lot of that, but what I'm saying is that, you're planning ahead with using, programs that are for people with developmental disabilities in mind to have a good quality of life. So you found out by these little experiments, this informal planning, what the formal planning could look like. So I'm just telling you this because, transition planning is complicated, but you can approach it in a more chill way, and get to where you and where your loved one wants to be. And that's my hope for all of you. So anyway, reach out to us anytime. You can email us at transition2s at gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Facebook, private message us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays with Jane and Joe, and we will see you next time.